Hey guys, Silverlord here, back again with another review, and it is my distinct privilege to be finally taking a look at the Four Horsemen Studios' Mythic Legion's Sir Girard. Now before we get started here, let us first take a look-see at both the front and the back of the packaging. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now before we get into the meat and taters of this review, Sir Girard here does come with a plethora of accessories. First up, Sir Girard comes with two, count 'em, two cutlass-style swords. Next up, he comes with a shield emblazoned with the emblem of the Dark Templar, as well as a pair of shoulder pauldrons and a belt that can be placed on the torso of this figure, or the waist as far as the belt is concerned. It should also be worth noting that the belt can be used to store the weapons this guy comes with. And last but certainly not least, Sir Girard does come with this alternate skeleton head, which is a redeco of the scapular, the Crypt Breaker head, which I am very happy to be adding to my Mythic Legions collection, since I don't have that original scapular figure. Fingers crossed for a variant of that guy at some point in the near to distant future. But with that being said, funny story about this head, it actually wasn't supposed to be included with this standard release of Sir Girard, but if you guys watch Four Horsemen O'Clock, which is a live show done over on the Four Horsemen's YouTube channel by Chris Garwich and George Gaspar, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, they went into how there was a bit of a screw-up with the factory, and all the standard editions of Sir Girard accidentally came with this skull head. So, at the end of the day, happy accidents are a great thing. But, with that being said, if you did miss out on this version of Sir Girard, I'm sure he may be offered up again at some point, maybe in an All-Stars wave. Don't hold me to that, but you will have a chance to get this skull head again later on this year, I believe, in a head pack. So, looking forward to that. Curious what else they're going to have to offer in that head pack. It should be worth noting as well that the little spike on the helmet on this head is also removable. But with that being said, let us now move on to the aesthetics and articulation. Taking a closer look at Sir Girard here, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with the quote-unquote origin of this character, Sir Girard was both designed and named after Mr. Jeremy Girard of Mythic Customs, as well as the chief of web design over at Four Horsemen Studios, for all the great work he has done for the Horsemen over the years, and rewarded him with his own figure slash character. So that is pretty cool. So congrats to Jeremy. That's really awesome. Maybe we'll see an Overlord figure one day. Probably not. But if we did, it'd be really cool, I assure you. Looking at his aesthetic here, it's pretty much the standard kind of knight armor that we're used to seeing in this line, albeit with a more, I think this is from the Arethyr wave, this belt. I believe he mentioned that this came from the Red Shield Soldier, along with the shoulder pauldrons we looked at during the accessories segment of this review. So, you know, he does have some new parts, but it is mostly a 1.0 buck with the tunic torso and loincloth piece, the Red Shield Soldier belt piece, shoulder pieces when you have them attached, that is. He does have the kind of smaller collar piece down here, which I think is a nice touch. I didn't notice that before. He's got the Gorgo Aetherblade style helmets. Kind of the more cool looking of the knight helmets. That has the ports on the side for attachments. And as you can see, this guy has wings on his. Which this is how he comes packaged. So this is how we'll be looking at him for the majority of this review. I will probably gear him up before we take a look at size comparisons. But for now, we'll just keep him bare bones so he's a little bit easier to maneuver around and whatnot. But yeah, this guy is supposedly a Dark Templar. So that's pretty cool. He's like the commander of the Dark Templars, which are coming in the Deluxe Legion Builders Wave 1. Looking forward to that later this year. That said, he is also a changeling, so he comes with that skeleton head for a reason. Not because he's a skeleton, because he can transform into a skeleton, or an orc, or a goblin, or a lady. Okay, maybe that's too far, but you know what I mean. You could pop any head on this figure, and it's canon, basically, because Jeremy Girard has a reputation of being a LBC, lazy boy customizer, because he started off just doing swaps. That's how most customizers start off, myself included. I've done my fair share of part swapping in this line. So, you know, it's kind of fun that they integrated something he does on the regular into the character he created. So, yeah, I gotta give props where it's due. There was a lot of clever decisions made when designing this character. And, choosing what he was going to come with, which I gotta tell you, I love the weapons. I love the weapons this guy came with. But as far as articulation goes on this guy, his head will look up, down, he has some tilt side to side, look side to side there, the neck rotates, shoulders go out to the side, about a right angle to the body, not too shabby, back down, forward and back, hinge at the elbow, swivel at the elbow. Did I call this the shoulder or the elbow? I don't know, but it's a shoulder. But he's got a hinge and swivel at the elbow, swivel at the gauntlet, swivel at the wrist, hinge at the wrist. He's got a ball joint in the waist. It does also rotate. We'll say the waist rotation on this wave seems a bit looser, this reinforcements wave. So, you know, that's just something to note. Hips kick forward and back. Nice tight hips, though. Out, back down. He's got a thigh cut. Single joint at the knee with rotation below that. And then he's got the ball hinge ankles, which hinge forward and back. They rotate side to side and have the rocker. Peg holes at the bottom of the feet. For the display stand, he does not come with, but a McFarlane stand will work on these guys quite nicely. They match peg size perfectly. But yeah, that's Sir Girard in a nutshell. I love the kind of more matte color to the armor, and then the black and red for the tunic parts, and then some of the highlights on the helmet. It just pops, man. It looks awesome. He looks like a badass, and I think that's the vibe they were going for here. If anything, he looks more like Gorgo's kind of son or relative or something, just based off the armor here, but we're going to be taking a look at Gorgo at some point later this year as well. It's going to be a good year for Mythic Legions once again, to say the very least. But with that being said, let's gear this guy up and take a closer look at some size comparisons. First up here is Sir Girard next to a couple other members of the Sons of the Red Star, Lord Viteris and Pixis. Next up here he is alongside a couple more members of the Sons of the Red Star, Mephitor and Grisha the Slitherer. And last but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, Brother Mandibulus and Lovin Spawn, who's not towering over everyone today. What can I say? Sir Girard wins by the Warduke wings. So with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and if you haven't been able to figure it out by now, I absolutely love this figure and think it is an excellent addition to the Mythic Legions line as a whole, not just because it's a solid figure, because it is, but because of the story behind it. I've known Jeremy Girard for a couple of years now, whether it's through talking with him over on Facebook and or checking out his live show, Mythic Customs. I've known the dude for a while. He's a really cool dude. He's done a lot for the Horsemen, so I don't know anyone who's more deserving of a figure than him. And I gotta tell you, the Horsemen did a bang-up job with his character. Absolutely love how he came out. I feel bad for anyone who wasn't able to pick this guy up or missed out on him. I hope there is another chance to pick him up in the future. Again, maybe in an All-Stars wave or something. That said, if you did miss out on the skull head, you will have another shot at that in that head pack I mentioned earlier. That should be solicited, I think, later this year. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. While you're at it, don't forget to check out Jeremy's channel, Mythic Customs. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check out his weekly live show, Mythic Conversations, which airs Wednesdays around 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. But if you haven't already, don't forget to hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions, as well as the Mythic Legions Cabal over on Facebook. Be a part of the Mythic Legions community. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.